The Enneagram gets behind all of that and it looks at why we do what we do. What is our core motivation going into life? And that is the nature part of us, right? And then there's a ton of nurture parts of us. How we live out that core motivation is going to be very expansive. So each type can look different than other types, but they're still recognizable by that core motivation.
Welcome to the Workmatters Podcast, where we have conversations about the purpose and practice of work. Each week, you'll want to join us to hear from different leaders in different industries and roles wrestle over how their faith intersects their work. So let's dive in. I am thrilled to have our guests on today. I always love to spend time with people when they can teach me something new about myself I didn't know. And our guest today does that, and she's amazing at it. Her name is Alex Fittin, and we are so happy to have you with us today. Thanks for coming on the Workmatters Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. I am thrilled to be here.
Well, good.
So exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad you are too. I mean, and you're going to hear why in just a minute, but I want to give a little introduction about you. So Alex Fittin is an Enneagram coach and trainer with a passion to use the Enneagram to build stronger, more effective individuals, teams, and communities. She's had the honor and privilege of using her trauma-informed practice training to serve trauma-impacted sectors like the military, education, and nonprofit leadership. Alex enjoys walking alongside organizations to support their internal culture. Most recently, we had the privilege of having Alex host one of our breakouts at the Workmatters conference, and she killed it. I mean, packed house twice, in fact, for you. And the feedback that I got was it was incredible, and you were incredible. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate that. She also recently has led a 2-day pastors retreat using the Enneagram to help them better serve their congregations. I love that because we so believe that at Workmatters. And Alex is married to Brian here at Go Rogue, who helps us put on the podcast. And she is mother to many. In fact, how many?
Okay, so 4. We have 2 biological children and 2 adopted children. And one of them is launched. He's a grown-up now. We adopted him as a teenager. And then we have 3 at home still.
I love that. So you're busy.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Did I miss anything? How was that?
I think it was fantastic.
You want to add anything to it?
No, I mean, I've dabbled in the podcasting world before.
Yes,
I had
did.
an adoption podcast for a little while. Definitely one of my big passions. And that's also one of our trauma impacted sectors that we serve at Gap Relief and that I just love to serve in general. So yeah, I feel like, adoption, Enneagram, married to Brian. Those are the highlights, right?
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Well, tell us, we're a Faith and Work podcast. We talk about faith. We talk about work. Tell us about your work in the world.
Okay. Big question. I love it though.
Intentionally vague.
So I'll just start with a little bit of background. Whenever I was a teenager, I went and applied for a job at a restaurant. And when I did the interview, which it was a restaurant job, so it was like 2 questions, and one of them he asked me to tell him about myself. And I said that I was a people person, and he kind of laughed, which I was like 17. So I didn't really understand why he thought that was funny. And I went home and talked to my parents about it. And they were like, oh, that's just kind of like a very cliche thing to say. And I could not understand that because I was like, but that's what I am. I'm a people person. But that's always stuck with me. I still remember that. So, went to college, got a degree in communication, still very much a people person. My specialty in that degree was interpersonal communication. And so that being said, I think that with everything I've done, community has just been such a driving factor for it. I love understanding how people tick and how they operate and how I can connect with them better. And then I think as I've grown in my career, I started having passion for helping other people do that too, helping other people to understand each other, to see each other. And so when I discovered the Enneagram, I think that I got a little obsessed, which was common right around that time. And then it was actually my husband that was like, if you're going to be this obsessed with something, we need to monetize it, which is pretty funny if you understand his Enneagram type. And so I did. I got my certification, and then I learned and realized that a lot of Enneagram coaches really focused on that self-awareness piece. And that is that's a big one, right? You got to start with that. But I think that with the adoption background and knowing more about trauma impacted groups of people, being one myself, we were connected to Gap Relief already, which is a therapy clinic and trauma-informed organization that I also work for. I just saw the need to take this passion with the Enneagram to understand people, to understand what they do with the things that happen in the world, right? With their life experiences and how their worldviews are shaped and why. Take that deeper and help them to be able to communicate that better to other people, to help other people to understand what they're communicating to them. And when that's reciprocated, man, I've just seen it take off, like teams be able to just thrive because they're cutting past so many of those interpersonal struggles or strifes and being able to just get to the work that God has given them to do. And that is the most fulfilling thing for me. I love it. So you asked, what I do. That's a little bit more the background. I do a few different things with the Enneagram. So at Gap Relief, at the clinic I work for, I walk alongside our trauma therapists and help them to see their clients through the lens of the Enneagram. We use it a lot internally as trauma-informed practitioners. So I get to walk alongside our educators. We have a program at Gap Relief where we do trauma-informed training and resiliency in public schools. That's funded through the Walton Family Foundation. And I love doing that. I love getting to train not only on the Enneagram, but just on what does it mean to experience trauma and what do you do with that? So we get to work alongside those teachers and educators and administrators who are having to overcome a lot of hurdles just to do their job, right? We get to walk alongside a lot of people in ministry, a lot of people who are working in the nonprofit sector, like you guys, right? You guys see a lot of things and that can't not impact you. And so what do you do? How do you as helpers keep helping, right? How do you stay resilient? How do you stay filled? And we want to be the answer to that question. And so I love getting to help my clients to see themselves better, help their therapists to see them better, and kind of work as a wrap model to fully surround these people. And then even beyond Gap Relief, I love working with teams. I get to walk alongside them for a season to help them implement the Enneagram into their internal culture, to help them see each other better, to help them work as a team and as a unit to do what they do best. And I love that I get to save them time and money and efficiency and all of those great things too, all the businessy terms. But and I get to just focus on the people. So I get to be a people person, right?
You do.
I get to stay that.
And I love that you paid attention to what was most alive in you. Like even at 17, I mean, who at 17 years old kind of knows themselves really well, but you knew yourself well enough to know I really get along with people. I can really speak into them. And then, so faith intersects this.
Yeah.
Right? So how does faith intersect this? Where does faith belong in what you're doing? Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So I love whenever I get to do talks or workshops or anything like that. One of my favorite things to talk about is that the Enneagram gives us a really cool glimpse into how we get to represent God, how we get to be heaven on earth, to get to be a part of the kingdom in that way. But I think even more than that, we get to stop trying to be something else. And that's one of the most heartbreaking things when I work with these organizations is I see a lot of the expectation being that they all be a certain type, that they all be a chameleon, that they all kind of fit into whatever is needed of them. And if they can't survive in that, then they're out. And instead, I get to show leaders, hey, these are the skill sets that you're missing out on. This is what they bring to the table. And it may not look the same as somebody else's. But if you quiet that, then that's missing from your organization. And tying that back to God, it's like God put us on this earth and he gave us these different skill sets and we can do different things with the same, kind of umbrella term skill set. But when we can cut past so much of the insecurities or the expectations that other people have on us, or the, hey, I wish I was better at this, and helping people see what they actually are good at, why they were put on this earth, what God put in them to do, and how they were designed to put the world back together. Man, I just get to see people thrive. I get to see people say, yeah, almost own it. Like, yeah, I'm not good at that, but that's so amazing because Darrel is. Darrel was put on this earth for that. And that's not why I'm here. And I get to be only and exactly this. And there's so much freedom in that. And man, I just think that that's such a cool form of worship, to use what God has put in us and not tamp it down, not repress it or ignore those skills because somebody tells us we should, right?
Yeah.
It's really connected to the, we talk a lot about Ephesians 2:10. We have in other episodes, and just that God has works for us that he's planned in advance for us to do, not this blanket generic stuff, but the unique stuff like he made us. Now, I suspect that many of our listeners know their type, know their strengths, know their shadow side, know all those things, but there may be some who need a brief flyover of what the Enneagram is. Could you do that for us?
Yeah, I'm one of those people. So I heard the first time I even saw the word, I didn't even know how to say the word, you know, Enneagram. Yep. So you're talking to me, and some of our viewers there. And I've taken the test, and so I at least know that I'm a 3-wing 2.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Okay. So
fantastic.
Yeah, with the flyover. Yeah. I love that.
Cool. So, I mean, long word. Yes. And our brains are hard programmed to be suspicious of things that we don't know. So it's completely understandable.
So true. Yeah.
Enneagram, if you break it down, it just means drawing of 9 in Greek. So that I like to lead with that right out the gate. And people are like, oh, okay. But it's a personality typing system. What's really cool about it though, is that, and how it differs from other personality typing systems, is that many of those really look at what we do. And more than that, they look at what we do in a certain setting. So, work is probably the most common one. You go and you're taking a test to place you in a color or something like that, right? Or maybe it's marriage, or maybe it's parenting, or whatever it is. But it's very focused on our outward behavior, which is shaped by our life experiences. And those are important, right? That what we do is important. But the Enneagram gets behind all of that, and it looks at why we do what we do. What is our core motivation going into life? And that is the nature part of us, right? And then there's a ton of nurture parts of us. How we live out that core motivation is going to be very expansive. So each type can look different than other types, but they're still recognizable by that core motivation. And I love it because, yes, it's a little deeper. It's not as quick as taking a 10-question test and it's spitting the answers out. It's something that it's designed for you to learn about and really understand and dive into. But because of that, it's evergreen and it's more holistic. It looks at our whole person, not just how we behave in a certain setting. And not only that, but how we behave is going to change. It's not only going to change from day to day as we go to work and then go home and we access different parts of us or different facets of our personality, but it's going to change as we hopefully heal and grow and mature and have more life experiences. And what's cool about that is that changes how we live out our personality, our God-given motivation in life, but it doesn't change what that motivation is. So I don't know. I think that's why I'm really drawn to it, because I feel like it's more holistic and it's more expansive and it allows so much room for the human element of who we are. But it's a platform for us to tie back like, hey, I have these life experiences. I have this knowledge and these inputs and these joys and these traumas and whatever else. And that has helped shape who I am, but I can still point back to why God put me here.
Oh, wow. I love that. Now, you've been trained in this as well.
Yeah.
And so what is your makeup, your Enneagram?
Well, my first thought is she explained that way better than I ever have. So
I was about to ask, how do I do, Darrel? Because I know that.
Fantastic.
So what is yours?
I'm a 9-wing 1.
9, and what are you?
I am a 1-wing 2.
Okay, 9, 1. And see, again, I have no idea.
Those are just numbers.
They're just numbers.
We share a wing, right? You got the 3-wing 2. I got the 1-wing 2.
Okay, so we share a wing.
Yep, we're both people.
We're both people. Okay, what else am I? Like my family and friends. You said something. You and I were talking earlier. So 3-wing 2 means.
So you're a performer or an achiever. And so your core motivation is to succeed, to win, to achieve, to be admirable and impressive. And man, that is such a cool gift to come to this earth in, because I love to tell 3s, you guys are the ones that know how, without even trying, you just sense how to connect with somebody in the moment. You make people feel welcome. You make them feel known. You know how to connect with them in the way that they need to be connected with. And all of us come into the world assuming that other people have the same skills as we do. But I love to remind 3 specifically that most people don't know how to do that.
Wow.
Like that is a unique gift that you have where you can step into a conversation and you know how to kind of chameleon yourself to what they need in order to feel welcome and understood and a part of whatever it is. And it's so cool.
Okay.
How do you feel right now?
I know, right now. I'm like, okay, we're going to continue to talk about this, but I just thought, oh my gosh, you described me. I mean, that's exactly how I feel. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, I experienced you like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. I think my friends and family that would be listening to this and those that know me that I've worked with would say the same thing. And that energizes me.
Yeah.
I mean, that really energized me. And the fact that you said the way that God uniquely made you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so important because I think so many of our listeners, and they're hearing this right now, and they're wondering, how has God made me?
Yeah.
And that's so important because if you don't know that, you don't spend time really thinking about that, that really affects how you work.
Absolutely.
Or I wonder, we live in the capital of retail and production and all those things, how in areas like ours, certain types, we can almost feel like those are the only ways to be in this world.
Yeah.
The hard charging leader, the person, all those stereotypes that when you're surrounded by great leaders from some of those other types, you can start to think, what do I really bring to this?
Yeah.
Oh my
Especially
gosh.
if you're told that this is the only way to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking of my kids. I'm thinking of social media. I'm thinking of TikTok and all the things that they're watching, and how even in media and in our world, we're told this is what it looks like to be successful.
Yep.
This is what you have to be like. I mean, that's exactly what you're just describing. And so we conform to try to be that, all the while feeling like something's not right in me. I'm not being holistically me.
Yeah.
Do you see that when you talk to people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that we all get pretty good at fitting in. Some of us better than others, but it just wears us out really quickly. And that's one of the most interesting things is knowing what are the signs of burnout for each type and being able to not only equip them to sense that in themselves, but in the companies that hire me, they are typically organizations that are really wanting to lean in. Maybe they don't currently have the skill set to see these things, but they care about their people and they want to care more. And so being able to even hand that information to each other of, hey, if you see this in me, this is when I need some love. This is when I need some care. And that feels scary because the messaging in a lot of organizations is just, hey, you leave yourself at the door.
Yeah.
That's such a disservice because they're missing out on all of these really cool skill sets. One thing that's really interesting is sometimes with organizations, I'll be a part of a hiring committee or I will be one of the interviews. And people are always pretty intimidated because they think that their type is going to impact whether or not they get a job or whether or not they get a promotion. And I think it's a 2-part thing because it's not that I'm going to be like, hey, this is a 3, so they're wrong for this job. But I definitely see people drawn to certain jobs because of their type. They're just naturally not interested in something because that's not what their skill set is or that's not what their passion is. But then also I get to hand it to the leadership of, hey, actually, I think a 3 would be perfect in this position. It might not seem like it, but you're missing this skill set currently. So I get to kind of influence both sides. I hope that answered your question. I'm realizing I kind of went on a tangent.
No. I think it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question just because it's become more popular over the last several years. I'm curious what you think. Are there advantages to that for you, for someone like you? And are there some challenges that have come along with this becoming a phenomenon of sorts?
Yes. So I would say, there was definitely a big boom in 2016, 2017. That's when The Road Back to You by Suzanne Stabile and Ian Cron came out, which is great. It's a great book, by the way. You should get that book. But so I get a lot of people come in, they're like, oh yeah, I was obsessed with it back in 2016, 2017. And then I kind of forgot about it. Yeah. And I think that it's really cool because there's an access point there, right? At least they've heard of it. They're not as skeptical. I think where it's hard though, is a lot of people took a test and they might think that they know about themselves or about the Enneagram. And sometimes they're more resistant to almost like going back to the beginning and starting fresh. But a lot of the time it doesn't take long before they're like, okay, I didn't know that. And so we're on the same page now. But other than that, I think it can almost be good. And I actually really enjoy when people are skeptics and they come in, they're like, I don't know about this. I don't know what this is. I like it when they tell me right up front, because then I get to meet them in that and I get to see why. Like a lot of the times because they've been mistyped or it's been used as a weapon against them. And so I get to really lovingly be like, hey, some of that might be true, but this is actually who you are. This is actually how God made you. And this is what they missed. And I'm sorry about that. And that's like some of the coolest experiences.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of our listeners, how many of us, I'm just thinking, we get to this place in work. Maybe we realize for the first time, I want my faith and my work to connect.
Yeah.
But I'm in a job and I just don't feel alive, like in what I'm doing. Not that I need to go like find my passion and go do something, but I wonder how much of that is the fact that I don't know me. I know what my dad told me about me, or my mom told me about me, or these kids told me about me and when I was in school, but I don't know that I know me.
Yeah.
How much does understanding who I am through the Enneagram, how much does that open up someone's eyes? How much does that help navigate them in a direction professionally? Have you seen that when you talk to people?
Massively.
Wow.
I love it because, and I don't know that I've ever had somebody be like, oh, I'm not doing what I was meant to do. I'm going to quit. I don't know that that's ever happened actually. What happens instead is that they start being their full selves in their current position. They start bringing to the table the really cool things that are in them to do that maybe they didn't know they were allowed to do, or that they always saw as flaws in them.
Wow.
I always like to tell people our personalities are a double-edged sword. The thing that we are best at and our skill set, we can use that for empire or we can use that for shalom. And we get to choose that every single day. And sometimes it's not even us choosing empire. It's our job, right? Or it's our boss, or it's our parents, or whoever is pouring into us saying, this is a flaw in you. And I get to flip it and say, this is actually, when you use it in this way, this is where you thrive. I mean, nine, not to pick on you, but like nines are a fantastic example of that, right?
Why, thank you.
Sorry. Just muff them for
Go
a
ahead and
minute.
pick on this 9. I want to see it.
I see so many nines be functioning as almost peacekeepers instead of peacemakers.
Totally.
And what's really cool, and I always say it's like, it seems like a disservice or it seems like a trick on the surface that God gave the people with the widest, coolest, deepest perspective the least ability or least probability to use it, right? To speak up about it and say what you see. And I think that that's your journey, right? As nines, you have to overcome a lot of this conflict avoidance or this fear that you're going to lose people if you speak up. But what you see is so much different than what everybody else sees. Like you see naturally where everybody is coming from. You understand people's perspectives. And for some nines, that quiets them, right? They understand the other side, so they just don't think they should have an opinion.
Yeah. That's
where that peacekeeping comes in. But if you flip it, you get to be the peacemaker. You get to mediate. You get to show people what they're missing. Like I have chills right now. That is so cool being able to see nines like stand up in what God has given them confidently.
And when you're on a team that's aware of that, they're the ones who will say, what are you thinking? Or what they invite, they call us out to stand up, which is some help we need sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's the benefit of having an awareness of the Enneagram on a team or in an organization.
Yeah.
I would say a kindness from nines is to say what you see, even when it's scary. A kindness for nines from the other people is to wait for the 9 to speak up or ask them to.
Wow. We've got one more question. We're going to be wrapping up our time here. I'm going to give you a couple rapid fire ones.
Love it.
I mean, it's true. We as a team, we went through the Enneagram. It was my first time to encounter it. Everybody on our team had encountered it at least once, and everyone pretty much knew. But I did notice that as we went around, the team and the people that knew each other's and had been engaged with this before knew how to talk to the other person.
Yeah.
Knew how to pull out of them something or say, oh, well, you're doing this because we know this about you, is true. And I love that. It's a culture changing opportunity. And the idea that God would give us a tool to help us better understand how he uniquely made each of us in his image, right? Because none of us are the same.
Right.
We all bear his image, but wow, we're really unique.
Mm-hmm.
And here's an opportunity to understand that and then take it to our place of work, take it into our homes, take it into our relationships. And so I just love that. So I'm hearing this for the first time, or it's been a while since I've heard it. What's my next step? What's my first step to do this? Do I just go take the test and try to interpret the results on my own? I think I know the answer to that. But, what should I do?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a fantastic question. Tests are tricky because first of all, there is no official test. There are paid ones. There are free ones. There are answer these 3 questions and we'll tell you your Enneagram type. And then there are ones that you pay for that are very deep and in depth. But the issue with that is the human element, where you take it, what mood you're in when you take it. Those are all going to impact your answers. And so I always try to push people away from tests. I'm not going to tell you not to take one, but what I will say is that if you do take a test, take it a step further. Use that as a launching pad. Take your results, go do the research on it. Look at the other types as well, because it might seem like you behaviorally, but that core motivation might be different. The other options are, and these are the ones I prefer, go read a book about it. The Road Back to You is a great resource. I also really like The Honest Enneagram by Sarah Jane Case. That's really helpful. Both of those books break it down by type. And so easy to read, easy to break into chunks even. And then connect with me. I love to talk about this. And I always joke that I will try to insert it into the conversation somehow. So
That's great.
Give me a minute and I will bring it back to the Enneagram.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good. Oh, okay. Rapid fire questions. Just a couple. Here you go to end our time with one another. One thing that you like to do with how you're wired and made up to rest. What's one thing you like to do to rest?
Ooh. Okay, so this is such a good question because what I want to do is read a lot or hang out with people. I like to go to the movies or stuff like that.
Because you're a 2-1?
I'm a 1-2.
1-2.
So I tend to work pretty hard to be perfect, which is impossible. And so a lot of the time I'm like, I just want to read this book about these fictional characters that can be imperfect because they're not real. But what I've learned that I actually need is play, which feels interesting. Play and being creative. And those are things that I am not naturally drawn to. They don't feel good to me all the time, especially when I'm needing rest, but they are actually the things that fill me the most.
Okay. Most interesting Enneagram makeup is?
Okay, what?
You got to pick one. Is it a 3-wing 2, a 4-wing 5? Which one's your favorite or the most interesting to you? You guys pick one.
Okay.
You don't even have to tell us why. You can just pick one.
So tricky. Okay, hold on. I have a soft spot for 8s. I will tell you that because I feel like they are incredibly misunderstood. Favorite though, I think, I'm married to a 3. And one thing that's really funny is whenever I was doing my certification, there were a lot of people that didn't know a lot about 3s because 3s are not incredibly likely to do a lot of deep self-work. And so they were like, have you guys ever worked with a 3? And I was like, oh, I got you because I'm married to one. So, that felt kind of good. I joke. I was like, I'm like the 3 whisperer.
I love that. So since you're married to a 3, I'm going to give the last question to him. Your favorite thing about Brian?
Ooh, favorite thing about Brian. Okay. I mean, he works so hard, but I think that what I love is getting to see the layers underneath the hard work and the achiever. And it's not that I think he on his own healing journey is learning so much how to be more of that and how to show more of that and learning that people want to see that. 3s tend to buy into the lie that they are human doings, not human beings. And so I think getting to see his journey of being like, oh, I can go below the line or below the surface and people will still like me because
awesome.
I'm a whole person.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay. So if someone wants to find out how to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that? Yeah. Is it online? Is it LinkedIn? Do you have a website? What do you got? So
I'm on all the places online. I will say I'm not great at being there because I am a people person, right? To tie it, full circle. But you can find me at Enneagram Alex.
Okay.
Email Alex at Enneagram Alex. I am on LinkedIn at Alex Fittin. I think those are all the places.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Alex, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for the work you're doing, the way that you're uniquely designed by God to do what you do. Thanks for moving into that, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Seriously, this was an honor.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us for the Workmatters Podcast. To continue this conversation about faith and work, please share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe to get notifications when we launch new episodes. For more information about the work we're doing at Workmatters and how we can best serve you, visit us at workmatters.org.